Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. In the sunlit enclosure of the conservatory, Michael stood frozen, his eyes locked on Rebecca, his wife of 40 years. The warmth flooding the glass-walled space sharply contrasted the cold unease between them. Michael, I've decided to accept David's invitation to stay with him tonight. I hope you can understand, Rebecca said, her voice steady but resolute. Michael's response dripped with venomous sarcasm. So, you're actually going to spend the night with your lover? Rebecca, well-versed in handling his temper, maintained her calm. David isn't my lover, Michael. He's someone I share a deep connection with. We have mutual interests, and I cherish his company. I don't know where this will lead, but walking away from him now feels wrong. I'm asking you to see it for what it truly is. Her voice softened as she added, This doesn't change the fact that I care deeply for you. But David has become a significant presence in my life. Michael's expression twisted in disgust. I can just imagine what Louise would say about you turning me into a pitiful cuckold, he spat. Rebecca's composure wavered, and she stomped her foot, her frustration surfacing. You are not a cuckold, she snapped, her voice sharp with indignation. Michael shot back, his tone cutting. Isn't that exactly what I am? A cuckold is a man whose wife takes other lovers, and that's what you've made me. Rebecca steadied herself, her tone softening again. That's not true, Michael. I don't have lovers, at least not in the way you're imagining. There's only David. And as for Louise, it's unfair to bring her into this. I was there for her when she needed support, just as she would have been for you had I left. Michael's expression hardened with disbelief. I'm sure Louise would have leapt at the chance to be the other woman for me, he said dryly. Without warning, Rebecca's hand connected with his cheek in a sharp slap that left him momentarily stunned. He staggered back, his voice dropping to a steady but firm tone. Violence won't solve this. Her lips quivered, the hint of an apology lingering unspoken. Instead, she answered with defiance. I'm not some immoral woman. Yes, I'm going to be with David, perhaps even share a bed with him, but whatever happens doesn't erase the life we've built together. Her words carried a playful irony, masking the tension beneath. Michael said nothing, recognizing the futility of further argument. His thoughts spiraled, haunted by the notion that Rebecca might experience emotions with David she had never shared with him. The word harlot danced unspoken in his mind. Rebecca's voice broke through his brooding. Please, take your medicine while I'm gone. Will you promise me that? Michael's voice was laced with disbelief. Why would you care if I do? Wouldn't my death make things simpler for you and David? Rebecca shook her head firmly. No, Michael, that's not what I want. I care for you deeply and don't want to see you unwell. You need your medication for your heart, your blood pressure. We're not young anymore. You're 71 and I'm 67. We both need to look after ourselves. She leaned in and kissed his cheek gently, a farewell imbued with bittersweet affection. Moments later, the purr of her sports car's engine signaled her departure, and she disappeared into the night, heading toward David's house 60 miles away. Though not far by many standards, the distance marked a significant boundary between them. As Rebecca navigated the winding roads, memories from 16 years earlier surfaced. She recalled the tragic accident that claimed her sister Louise's life, a workplace mishap that left David, her husband, a young widower. Rebecca had stepped in during his grief, offering solace that gradually deepened into something more. The moment their dynamic shifted was elusive, but one explosive confrontation with Michael had cemented it. When Michael uncovered the truth, his rage erupted like a volcano. The argument was raw and fierce, accusations and heartbreak flying unchecked. It ended abruptly when Michael collapsed, clutching his chest. That terrifying moment revealed the heart condition that would shape their lives going forward. Rebecca had called for an ambulance in a panic, the scene etched in her memory. David standing in his underwear, Michael writhing on the floor, and herself caught in the storm. The paramedics arrived swiftly, their calm professionalism a stark contrast to the chaos. Michael was stabilized and rushed to the hospital, where a life-saving stent was inserted. Despite everything, David chose not to press charges against Michael, an act of forgiveness that left lasting scars on all involved. Though Michael's body recovered, his emotional wounds lingered, festering with time. Rebecca, however, continued her clandestine visits to David, justifying them as acts of compassion. As the years passed, Michael's suspicions grew. Now, 16 years later, Michael sat alone in the conservatory as Rebecca drove off to another meeting with David. Surrounded by lush greenery and bathed in sunlight, he wrestled with the fractured state of their marriage. Though his health had deteriorated further, he concealed the extent of it, unwilling to let Rebecca think he was using it to manipulate her. As the June sun climbed higher, the conservatory grew unbearably hot. Michael, seated in his usual chair, drifted into a restless sleep. In his dreams he wandered a vast, endless desert, the scorching sands stretching infinitely. But the dream was short-lived. He awoke suddenly, the oppressive heat pressing down on him like a weight. Struggling to stand, he was overcome by dizziness and collapsed onto the cool tiled floor. The relief he expected from the stone never came. Instead, the heat seemed to radiate upward, smothering him in an unyielding embrace. He crawled toward the double doors leading into the living room, each movement sapping what little strength he had left. Rebecca had given him a Bluetooth pendant for Christmas, a device meant to keep him tethered to her phone. But now, in his most desperate moment, it mocked him with its silence as his calls went unanswered, diverted straight to voicemail. "Help!" he croaked, his voice barely more than a whisper. His jacket with the phone inside lay cruelly just outside the living room, a lifeline he could not grasp. Driven by sheer will, he inched closer to the doors, clinging to a fragile hope. Out of the corner of his eye, a flicker of motion drew his attention. He turned his head and saw a familiar figure in the conservatory, Louise, his sister-in-law, her face a mixture of warmth and concern. "Louise?" he murmured, a glimmer of hope breaking through his pain. "It's me," she said softly, her voice steady and kind. Her eyes, bright with emotion, held a mixture of compassion and urgency. "What's going on? Why are you here?" "I came for you, dear brother-in-law," she replied with a gentle smile. "Come now, get up." She always called him Mikey, a nickname infused with a casual affection that felt grounding in that surreal moment. She extended her arms toward him, beckoning him to rise, but as he struggled to lift himself, a chilling realization dawned on him. His body lay motionless on the conservatory floor. The shocking truth struck him like a lightning bolt. "I'm dead, aren't I?" The thought echoed in his mind as he recoiled from her outstretched hands. Louise's solemn nod confirmed his fears. "Yes," she said gently. "You've crossed the threshold. It's time to come with me." Her expression softened as she continued. "I've been granted special permission to guide you to the other side. I'm so sorry for what Rebecca and David did to you. You deserved so much more." Her tone carried both sorrow and warmth. "You were right all along. I would never have betrayed your trust the way Rebecca did. Not because I didn't see your worth, but because loyalty matters more than fleeting temptation. Let's be honest, Mikey. I'm not your wife." Her teasing smile briefly lifted the somber mood. Taking his hand, she led him away, toward a realm far removed from earthly anguish, a place of serenity and wonder. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Rebecca was driving home 2 days later, a gnawing unease tightening her chest. Guilt and regret churned in her mind, driving her to consider ways to repair the damage she'd caused. The affair with David had shattered Michael, and the weight of her actions pressed heavily on her. "How can I fix this?" she wondered. She ran through scenarios, cooking his favorite meal, preparing a relaxing bath, dedicating an entire day to his happiness. Her pulse quickened at the thought of making amends. But was it too late to bridge the chasm between them? The memory of the slap she'd delivered lingered, a sharp reminder of her cruelty. She'd heard stories of women leaving abusive partners without hesitation, yet Michael had stayed, enduring her betrayals. A part of her clung to the hope that he'd forgive her. But wasn't it time to confront the double standard she'd created? As she approached the house, an ominous thought struck her. She'd left her phone off. Turning it on, her heart sank at the sight of a message from Michael. "Please help me." Panic surged and she floored the gas pedal, desperation mixing with guilt in her veins. When she arrived, his car was parked outside, and a fresh wave of dread washed over her. She burst through the front door, calling his name, her voice trembling. The living room was eerily quiet. Her eyes drifted to the conservatory doors, and what she saw beyond them made her blood run cold. Michael's lifeless body lay sprawled on the cold tiles, his arms stretched toward the door as if reaching for salvation. The sight stole the breath from her lungs. 3 days of heat and confinement had left his body grotesquely altered, a grim testament to his final struggle. Her shaking hands fumbled for her phone as she dialed emergency services. When responders arrived, their professional detachment contrasted starkly with the horror of the scene. One offered her the contact of a discreet cleanup service. "They're excellent," he said. "Mention Ron from the coroner's office and ask for Andy. They'll handle everything." Rebecca closed the conservatory doors, retreating to the kitchen with a bottle of gin in hand. Her fingers trembled as she dialed David's number. He answered cautiously. "Hello?" "David, it's Rebecca," she began, her voice shaking. "Michael, he's gone. He had a heart attack." Before David could respond, another voice interrupted, sharp and accusatory. "David, are you talking to that woman who let her husband be humiliated? Hang up now! You're supposed to be with me, not wasting time on her." Rebecca's temper flared. "David," she snapped, "I thought we had something real. I almost left Michael for you. How naive I was to believe I meant more than just another conquest. And tell that screeching harpy to mind her own business." Without waiting for a reply, she ended the call and blocked his number. It felt like a hollow victory. "I'm sorry, Michael," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "For everything, for hurting you, betraying you, all of it." Her sobs came in waves, mourning her husband, her late sister, and the selfishness that had wrought such devastation. In the end, she realized, it was her own choices that had led to this chaos. Now, all that remained was the wreckage of a life she could never piece back together. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.